A financial earthquake has just shaken the tech world. Apple's stock has plunged by over 9%, wiping out a staggering $300 billion in market value in just a single day. The cause? New reciprocal tariffs from President Trump, targeting key Apple manufacturing hubs like India, Vietnam, Malaysia, and South Korea. This policy shift threatens to drive iPhone prices up by nearly 18%, shatter Apple's supply chain, and force the tech giant into a no-win scenario. So, what happens now? Will Apple finally bring manufacturing back to the US? Or is this the beginning of a devastating trade war that could shake global markets? Let's dive deep into this unfolding crisis. Stick with me. This is Wealthy Business, your home for expert insights into finance, business, and economics. Hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. On Wednesday, President Trump announced a game-changing expansion of his tariff policies, catching investors and tech giants off guard. Here's what we know so far. Apple has spent the past decade trying to reduce its dependence on China, shifting production of iPhones, AirPods, and MacBooks to countries like India, Vietnam, and Malaysia. The strategy seemed to be working, until now. Trump's new tariffs have now hit those very countries, leaving Apple with nowhere left to hide. The stock market reacted immediately and brutally. Apple stock plunged 9%, its worst day since March 2020. The Nasdaq fell 6%, as investors dumped tech stocks in panic. $300 billion in Apple's market value disappeared overnight. Why is this such a big deal? Apple had carefully diversified its supply chain to protect itself from US-China tensions. Now, every alternative production hub is also being hit with tariffs. Bottom line, Apple is facing a supply chain disaster with two terrible choices: absorb the cost, sacrificing billions in profits, or raise prices, potentially driving customers away. Over the past decade, Apple has strategically moved production away from China, where it once manufactured over 95% of its products. Where Apple's key products are now made: iPhones, India, AirPods, Vietnam, MacBooks, and iPads, Malaysia. Why did Apple move production? Trump's first round of tariffs in 2018, China was becoming a liability. COVID-19 supply chain collapse, production came to a standstill. Global chip shortages, a brutal wake-up call for tech giants. But now, this carefully planned escape from China has backfired in spectacular fashion. Morgan Stanley analysts estimate that Apple may be forced to raise prices in the US by 17 to 18% to offset the new tariffs. Here's what that could mean for consumers. iPhone 15 Pro Max, $1,199 to $1,415. MacBook Air, $999 to $1,179. AirPods Pro, $249 to $295. This would be Apple's most drastic price hike in history. But here's the problem. Apple rarely raises prices mid-product cycle. It usually waits until new product launches. So will the company absorb the cost temporarily, or pass it on to consumers immediately? That uncertainty is making investors nervous. Apple generates a massive $74 billion in revenue from China. But now, Beijing might see Apple as a target for retaliation against Trump's tariffs. Possible Chinese countermeasures: banning iPhones in government sectors, already happening. Increasing tariffs on Apple imports, a direct response to Trump. Blocking key Apple suppliers, a move that could cripple production. If China strikes back, Apple could lose one of its biggest markets overnight. Trump insists Apple should build plants in America. But is this even possible? The hard truth: high labor costs. Manufacturing in the US is 5 to 10 times more expensive than in Asia. Lack of skilled workers. Apple relies on specialized suppliers in China, Taiwan, and South Korea. Factory construction takes years. Moving just 10% of production would take 3+ years and $30 billion. Apple's only US factory Mac Pro is assembled in Texas. But most components are still made in Asia. Reality check: Apple cannot move large-scale production to the US anytime soon. The cost and logistics are simply too overwhelming. Possible outcomes: Apple lobbies for tariff exemptions, just like in 2018. Consumers pay more, as Apple offsets costs. China retaliates, making the situation even worse. What should investors watch for? Apple's next earnings call. Will Tim Cook confirm price hikes? US-China relations? Could the trade war escalate further? Final question: Will Apple survive this crisis? Or is this the beginning of a long-term decline? Let us know in the comments. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more financial insights.